Hello, how you doing? We are talking Dark Watchers. This is new to me. I haven't heard of the Dark Watchers. I think I heard about them a couple years ago. I guess it's a specific area, California or what have you. Really tall, shadowy figures that like hats and like cloaks or something like that. I don't know. Dark Watchers are described as tall, sometimes giant-sized, dark silhouettes, often with a wide-brimmed hat or walking sticks. Cool! Yeah, we got some like ghost Gandalfs walking around. That's pretty dope. Historical context, 1700s. Oh, by some Spanish explorers. Alright. So this ain't like new. Okay. Alright. Let's see what we can find on some Dark Watchers. Parrot 849. Back in around 1982, I hiked overnight alone from Big Sur down into Carmel Valley. I camped overnight near a natural spring located fairly close to the trail I was using to travel. Just like you described, it was just at sunset. I was eating my supper and looked up at a ridgeline nearby and observed what I could have sworn was 3 figures amongst the tree line watching me. I looked back for several minutes, but as the surrounding light drew less and less, the figures disappeared. I absolutely concluded, at the time, I was only observing dead trees within the rest of the other trees. I remember thinking I sure wasn't going to let my imagination run away with me, at the time anyway. I don't blame him. Solo backpacking or camping? I couldn't imagine that. Oh man. Surrounding light drew less and less, and the figures disappeared. Yeah, no. I'm not into that. Oh, here's one. Whoa. Devalish Bish? Deva Lishbish? We'll go with Deva Lishbish. Yeah, we're gonna try that. I lived and worked in Yosemite between 2010 and 2016. In my experience, there are definitely shadowy beings who roam those mountain ranges. For some unknown reason, during one of my seasons in the Sierra, maybe because I was meditating a lot, getting into yoga, and had my first experience with LSD earlier that year, I would see a human-like figure every once in a while fixed in a running pose float at a very fast pace across the trail I was on and disappear upon hitting a tree line or a rock wall, sometimes gliding from one side of a river to the other, there and gone in a flash. The first time I witnessed this, I was with a friend on a sunset hike. We were in deep conversation, and my gaze was down towards our feet and the trail. There was a high cliff drop into the very huge Yosemite Valley on one side of us, and a rock wall of boulders to the other. While talking, I lifted my head for a moment to see the distance in front of us, and this tall, long-limbed human runner figure floated from off-trail, where there was only one sheer drop into the valley below, and in a matter of 2 seconds passed in front of us and faded away into thin air as it reached the boulders leading up to the mountain wall. I remember it was a faint but completely distinct black shadow, fixed in a running position, with a head shape that looked as if it had long or dreaded hair blowing behind it as it moved forward. Also, it was see-through. Anyway, later that summer, the first sighting took place in spring. While I relocated and living in the higher country of Yosemite, I saw this figure again in the same way. Always in a running position, floating by quickly, disappearing quickly. Just before dusk or during a full moon were the sweet spots for this sighting. During my time in the Sierra Nevada, I came across multiple people who claimed to see some version of what I saw, including a friend who saw it at the same time I did. I know it sounds crazy, but I cannot convey how real it was at the time. Also beautiful. They were so beautiful and always so silent and graceful. I was never really scared. More at peace and grateful for the experience. That's neat, Mr. Lishbish. What, the long dreaded hair? Might be Bigfoot out here. These shadowy things. The more you get into Bigfoot, more deeper in that stuff, more interdimensional possibly. I don't know. More stories you hear and more unexplainable stuff, but it kind of makes sense if they were interdimensional. Oh man. A lot of people like categorize this with like shadow people or the Hat Man with sleep paralysis. The comparisons, especially, I'm assuming with the hat and shadowy, that's the only comparisons I have. Yeah, they might be the same thing. Who knows? Rolling, 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 rolling. On to the next one. Medish Shirazi? I don't know. I used to be in a positive occult group, and we had tons of interactions with what we called the Watchers or Travelers. People may recognize them as the Hat Man, Shadow Man, or something else. We had theories of what they be, but we had no idea what they were. I can say, as benign as they were, we always got a negative energy off them. It's funny that all these decades later, people through social media now see what we did so long ago. People would be terrified if they knew what was out in the world. Yeah, 100%. What they be. We just don't know what they be. I think it's extremely, let's just like take the government, what have you. There's a lot of stuff that obviously the American people don't know about. We probably know about a sliver of stuff, let alone if that's true stuff or what have you. I think it's good we know the truth, but to a point, I think a lot of us, if not most of us probably couldn't handle it too well, if that makes any sense. Yeah, there's a lot of terrifying stuff out there. Next. What's next? Austin Smith, 2,487. Wait, I didn't know this was an actual thing. Full disclosure, I'm writing this before I watched the video. I saw the thumbnail and immediately clicked because of my personal story. I want to be truthful in my memories and unbiased from the video. I've seen on several occasions an all-black figure with a cowboy hat on watching me, always from the corner of my eye, always from a distance. I thought it was a version of myself watching me make decisions. I came to the conclusion that he only appears when I'm close to making a life-defining decision, so I would pay attention to the choices I had to make. I tried to channel him into my music, thinking I'm working towards my destiny of being a musician. I ended up calling him the Spectre. I was never afraid of him, I just felt guided, like if I saw him, it was perhaps a sign that I was on the right path. But one day I made a choice to move to South Korea for 2 years. I haven't seen him since. I'm seeing this video out of coincidence. Edit, I live in Texas. Maybe he's there for all the bad decisions, you know? I can tell you right now, you want to know if he's a good omen or bad one. You should have pondered going to North Korea. And if you continued to see him, it's probably a bad omen. So, yeah, he probably disappeared. Yeah, I think you made the right choice with South Korea. Wish you all the best, man. Alright, Mr. Smith. Luke 10:25, Gospel Jesus taught. Okay. That one was easy. Fast forward 2013. Wouldn't it be flashback to 2013? Nonetheless, fast forward 2013. I was outside shortly after dark, bringing groceries inside my house, when I saw 2 of them moving very quickly in my direction. They moved independently, almost zigzagging, as one crossed the street underneath the street lamp. They looked like dark shadows around the size of a man. I had very little faith and stopped believing in God or the Bible. When these ghosts / shadow creatures / demons were almost on my lawn, I dropped my groceries and yelled, "In the name of Jesus Christ, get away from me." And immediately they stopped, and it felt like I was standing in an electric bodysuit of armor. There was power from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. I could also see the glowing white aura or energy over my body. It was a bulky feeling and kind of hard to walk in. That was the moment that I realized that ghosts are real and they respond to the name of Jesus. And so I decided to believe and start reading my Bible. I have had many other experiences since then, but I understand why people wouldn't believe what happened unless it happened to them. I will say, yeah, there's a lot of people that use in the name of Jesus Christ. Apparently repels something. That make you a believer, huh? Like I said, Jesus Christ, and the demon just left me be. It's just like, alright, well. Rob R. 2,280. My cousin seen this same figure at his family's country home in Dinuba, California. He would see the figure walking past his bedroom window, sometimes in the nectarine fields. He was terrified and sounded crazy when he talked about it. It happened almost every day for a week or so. 2 weeks later, he was shot and killed. Dang, what a twist. Sounds kind of like a horror movie plot. Yeah, it might be Bad Omens. I don't know. Kind of sounds like, except that one dude, Mr. Smith. Miguel Carrillo, 772. This episode is the reason I watched this channel. My sister saw one of these things while she was, as a passenger, driving down to LA. She saw one shadowy figure on a bridge. It was in the middle of nowhere, too far to be walking out there. Her car stalled shortly after seeing the long figure, distinct top hat and coat. Crazy thing is, she didn't know of these dark watchers at all, and she is definitely no hecklefish. And I wasn't one until I saw this episode. Location was Big Sur. Alright, apparently Big Sur, California, because that's been brought up more than once, might be a prevalent location for these dark watchers. Okay, I've seen it a couple times. Christina Carlstein Reyes, 2,808. Try seeing one of these figures in broad, full sun with no shadows anywhere except the one it's aiming for to obscure itself or transport, as it were. And you might question more. In the Northeast among Native Americans, these are referred to as elementals, or creatures that are a natural part of the planet's cycles, but highly bored and curious. If you see them, they tend to follow you, simply for the fact that not many people can. Deeply creepy, but harmless. Okay, that one, I'm a little thrown off by that one. Okay. Elementals, that's interesting. Alright. Daily driven. Interesting fact. I've never heard of this story before. Nice fact, man. But I had a really strange dream that took place in a forest. There were shadow people. And just before I woke up, one of them said, "We are the Dark Watchers of history." I did some researching and came across this video. Probably just a coincidence, but creepy nonetheless. Yeah. I mean, how many coincidences until it's like, okay, this ain't a coincidence no more? And I'm not talking about just strictly this. I'm just talking about, like, throughout history, all the coincidences. Gary E. Gray. Or is it Gary Egg Ray? You pick. Great video. And my wife and I love your channel. I would like to share an experience I had when I was staying overnight with my paternal grandparents when I was around 9 years old. I woke up to see a dark, cloaked, and hooded, tall figure standing to the right of my bed. It was walking slowly toward the foot of the bed. I thought it was my grandmother, and I called out to her, but it just kept walking. When it reached the foot of the bed, it turned left and then looked at me. It had red eyes, and it pierced right through me. I was scared and was trying to scream out, but I was so scared I couldn't manage to scream. It just came out as a whisper. As it looked at me, it disappeared. I can honestly say that I did not sleep anymore that night. When I was in my early 20s, my girlfriend slept over at my place one night, and very late in the night she woke up saying that there was someone in the room with us. I rose up from the bed, and there was nothing there. I asked her what she saw, and she said a tall, dark, cloaked figure with a hood was standing to the right of the bed watching us, and that when she woke me it disappeared. I had never mentioned my childhood experience before to her. About 20 years later, my wife told me she saw something in our bedroom watching us, and her description of the hooded figure was the same. When our son was 8 or 9, he asked me what the tall, dark, hooded figure was. I had never shared what I saw all those years ago. I then told my son I had seen it before, and that it had never harmed me, so not to be afraid. I am not sure what or who the tall, dark, hooded figure with red eyes is, but I do believe it is real. Yeah, it sounds like sleep paralysis, but I think sleep paralysis, well, I mean, never mind, they're all seeing the same. They didn't describe like a hat, and that's usually the hat man everyone sees. The red eyes, the same tall, hooded figure with, red eyes. I don't like that one. I don't like that at all. There's some good ones. There's some good ones so far. Darth Mimas. I live in the Santa Cruz Mountains of California, and I've only seen these figures once in my life. Back when I was about 5, I was in the back passenger seat of my mom's car, and we were driving through the city of Santa Cruz on a street perpendicular to a railroad that lined up next to the infamous Highway 9. Anyways, as we drove over the railroad track during stop-and-go traffic, I looked down the left side of the tracks, which led towards the forest and mountains. As I looked, I saw a rather tall, completely black figure wearing a wide-brimmed hat, and it casted no shadow and had no features whatsoever. It looked like a three-dimensional black cutout of a human. It looked both ways, and when it looked my way, it almost looked like it was looking at me. It walked across the railroad track, still staring at me. When it made it to the other side, it vanished into thin air. Mind you now, this was midday and rather busy, with people walking around, none of them looking like complete featureless black shadows. Oh, I like that one. The only problem with the young ones, like, again, our recollection isn't the best, but there's some kids that are unbelievably smart. It's nuts. What they remember and what they latch on to. I don't get the whole wide-brimmed hat thing. I mean, chances are it's just like the closest thing we interpret. It's a wide-brimmed hat. Got some ear horns or something. Debbie Shoemaker. Oh, we got a cobbler up in here. All right. Let's see what you got, Debbie. I live in Carmel Valley Village on the river. Our property backs up to the Veinte wilderness. One night, while sitting by my fire pit watching the sparks fly upwards, one of these figures in the wide-brimmed hat and long coat walked or floated by on the other side of my fence just a few feet away. The next moment, it was beside me. I got up and went inside my bedroom, shut and locked my door, and drew the curtain. Normally, experiences like this don't faze me at all, but this did faze me. Thank you for this video, as I had not heard of this spectral watcher before. Oh, that rolled. They all call it there. Thank you all so much for joining me. I was your host, Cockles. Tales from the comments. Yeah, you guys got a favorite one of these? I don't know. There's some pretty good ones in this. I think that's a wrap. All right. Take care.